Hi friends. Few weeks ago, I came across a tool called What If. It's developed by the researchers from Google. It's a super useful tool for understanding the machine learning data sets, understanding the features, the explainable AI, the model's bias, the performance, etc. So many other things we can do with this tool. So this is how it looks like. Here we are looking at the features. As you can see, we can look at their distributions, and there are a number of other options as well. We can look at the quantiles, etc. And then we can look at individual data points and how each features are contributing to the predictions. We can look at the partial dependence plots and also understand the model performance in very detail. And we can look at across different demographics or labels as well. So in this video, we are not going to explore this tool, but we will see how we can feed our own data and models to this tool so that we can explore in some other video. Okay. All right. So let's see the code. Okay. So today we are going to train a machine learning classification model on this compass data set. Okay. So basically it's from this Pro Publica. They assess the fairness and bias in machine learning models. Now this particular data set, it's to do with this recidivism, which is basically to predict if someone who is convicted is likely to commit another crime within 2 years, right? So through this model, they assess how the model is performing on different race, ethnicity, etc., to measure if the model has any bias and model acts against a particular group or race, etc. Okay. All right. So for this, we need this tool. As I mentioned, it's What If tool widget. Okay, so that's how the tool is called What If tool. But when you do the pip install, it's What If tool widget, WIT widget. Okay, and we also need the shop library. Now this need not be shop; it can be Lime, etc. for the model explainability. Okay. Now we are not going to details into the feature engineering, the data processing, the model training, etc. Because I assume you already familiar with that. We will focus on how we can feed our model and data into this tool so that we can do further analysis. Okay. So some standard Python libraries, and we are going to use Keras for training the classification model. So the data set, it's on the Google Cloud Storage. So read the data. And then here, we are doing a bunch of data processing, the one hot encoding, some removing unnecessary features, etc. Okay. So our target variable is this one. So the recidivism within 2 years. So how likely someone is to crime within 2 years after they have convicted. All right. So after pre-processing, etc., this is how our data set look like. So here we have the person age and a number of features which are one hot encoded, and this is our target variable. Okay. And here we are splitting the data set into train and test. And here we are defining a very small deep learning model. Okay. Using this Keras, a bunch of these dense layers with different activation functions, so on and so forth. Okay. And here we are training the model. So up to this point, I guess you are all familiar, right? Now this need not be a Keras model. It can be scikit-learn model or TensorFlow or maybe any other framework. Okay. So once we train the model, we will have this model object, and then we already have our training data with predictions and the labels, right? So these are the two sets of input we provide as input to our What If tool. Okay. So this is how it looks like. As I mentioned, we need some explainer. So in this case, we are using Sharp, but it can be any other one. Okay. So we provide our model and our input data. Okay. And then here we are looking at the sharp values for the first 5 records. So here we have trained a model with 12 features. So for the first sample or the record, this is how the features have contributed to the prediction. Okay, so we'll look all these values in more detail in the next video when we use the what if tool. But here we are simply providing the information required for the what if tool, right? So here we have for the second record, so on and so forth. All right. And then so here we are loading our what if tool widget, and we need a config builder and then the tool itself, what if tool widget. Now first let me show you how it looks like. So first we do the config builder, and then we simply provide that config to the what if tool widget, so that it creates this widget where we can explore so many things, right? We can explore the feature, the distributions, we can explore individual data points, and we can explore how different features are contributing to the prediction, the partial dependency plots, and this nearest counterfactuals, the model performance, the fairness bias, so many other things. We'll do that in the next video. But to create this tool, what we need is, so in the config, here we are supplying our input data or the feature values, and this one is our feature column names, and the main thing is this function, the custom predict function with sharp values. Okay, and then here we are saying our target value. So once we train a machine learning model, as you know, we already have this available, right? The feature values, we already know the column values, column names, and what's our target variable. So the only thing we need to really do is create this function which we can feed into our tool. Okay, so let's see how we can create this function, custom predict with sharp values, or it can be some explainer values. Okay, so here we are creating that function. Now this function takes the feature values, okay, and it will return two things. One is the model predictions, and the second one is called these attributions, which can be simply the sharp values. Okay, so in this function, here we are supplying all the features for our training or validation, etc. data. Remember, we also need the actual values, so that we can compare how good the model is performing, etc. Okay, all right. And here we are simply preparing the data, preparing the features, and removing some unnecessary columns which we don't need. So here we have defined the columns which we do not want in the model. Okay, so remove those columns, and then the model.predict, which we are already familiar, and this will create the predictions, right? Now we need the prediction values for each class or label, right? So because this is a binary classification, the prediction value will be this pred 0, right? So what we are doing here is 1 minus pred 0, so that we know the predicted probability for both the classes. Okay, and then so using the data, the feature values, the model input, which we have created here by removing the unnecessary columns, we are creating the sharp values. And then we are creating this attribution dictionary, which is simply the sharp value along with their feature names. Okay, so here we are simply going over the sharp values along with the feature names to make it into a dictionary. So once we have done that, so we are creating a new dictionary with the predicted probability for all classes, and then for each sample, the sharp values. Okay, so that's what this custom function returns. So once we have defined this function, we supply that in this config builder, and then using the config, we can create this tool. Okay, in the next video, we will explore what all we can learn from this tool. Okay. Okay, so in summary, it's a very, very simple thing. As you know, up to this point, I guess you must have done hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, right? So we have trained a model, right? We have the training data with the actuals, and then we have the model itself. And then what we are simply doing is we are creating a custom predict function, which takes all the training data and it create the predictions. And here we are creating the prediction for all the classes. In case if the model return, some model return the prediction probability for only the top class, right? Because we have binary classification, we created the probability for both classes. And then using the shop, we have created or computed the shop values. And then we are creating this dictionary called attributions, which is this key value pairs, where the keys are the feature value and the values are the shop values. And then we have created a new dictionary with the predictions as well as the shop values called attributions. Okay, so that's what this custom function returns. And then we simply feed that custom function in this config builder and we create this tool. Okay, so once we have created this tool, in the next video, we will explore what all we can learn from this tool. Okay, that's all for this video. Thank you very much.